91.3 WYEP Pittsburgh Station, where the music matters, and we love to bring you live music as well, which is why we're going to have a big WYEP Summer Music Festival, courtesy of UPMC Health Plan. It's going to be at Shenley Plaza on June 25th. It's a great lineup. We have the Seratones from Shreveport, Louisiana, and from the Washington, D.C. area. It's Jukebox the Ghost, but we want to focus on some great Pittsburgh music as well. And one of those folks that's going to be playing is the legendary Bill Deasy. Bill, I know you kind of grinned whenever I said legendary, but whenever you have staying power, and you have staying power, you get to call yourself legendary.
Let's do it. Well, you're a legend, too.
I guess
I
are.
didn't mean to say two. That sounded arrogant. I
Oh,
think
no,
you're a
no.
legend.
No.
You're the only legend of the two of us, I think.
I'm willing to say we are legend. Okay, so you have a new album that has just hit. It is called If the Creek Don't Rise, and I am thrilled to say that you're going to play a song for us.
Yes, I am. Right now, this is the first song on the record. This is called Telling Stories. There's a suitcase in a hallway, and the morning dove is calling through the window, where the sun is slowly rising, making sense of the horizon through the rain. Now the case is being carried, but the woman that he married, she ain't nowhere. She ain't nowhere, she ain't nothing, she ain't never gonna chase that boy again. 'Cause he's been telling stories, pouring whiskey in his coffee, telling stories. First a figment, then a snapshot, then a terrible dream I had, then had to live through. Filled with drama that I conjured to remain a little longer in the dark. Thank God my inkwell held a color that was truer than the others in my pen. And it caught another plotline where the hero finally heals his broken heart. But still he's telling stories, filled with trials and tribulations, telling stories. Store novels and big great movies, film projector, stage director, everybody's only ever. Telling stories, that's all anybody's doing, telling stories. You to me and me to you, we're telling stories. Ain't none of them that's true, we're telling stories.
91.3 WYEP. We are here with Bill Deasy. It's so nice to see you again, Bill.
So nice to see you too, Rosemary.
It feels like I've been so separated from so many people. There's no chances to just, accidentally run into each other. But now we made a decision to
You
run
made
into
a
each
choice.
other.
Yes, I'm so good to be here with you.
So the first album in 6 years, the assumption some people might say is like, well, what were you doing in that period of time? My guess is music continues, even if there isn't a release. Have these songs been germinating for that long?
This is definitely different than any other record I've made in terms of the writing of it. Partly my life, has just gotten busier. I work, I'm the special events manager for the county, and I run the big concert series at Hartwood and South Park every summer. And so just my life is very full with those kinds of things. And so I'm writing less prolifically than I used to. I used to be a song a week guy. I really was. I could not be writing a song. And now it just kind of has to really kind of overtake me. And but during the pandemic, during that time, I did write a few of the songs on this record were written in that time. But because it was so long between records, I just took a different approach and tried to kind of create a narrative from the songs and would even grab songs from that I'd written long ago. Like there's a song called Rushing Water that I wrote with Kim Ritchie the first time I met her. She and I met in Nashville, I think in 1999 or something. And we wrote So It Goes, which was a song that we both recorded, and Rushing Water, which was a song that I think she ended up recording too, but that just kind of sat there for a long time. So it's kind of, I had the luxury, I think, of just kind of selecting the story, the kind of the narrative that I wanted to tell.
Well, you've written a novel. So as I was listening to this record, and I know you, so I thought, well, this isn't the Bill writing about himself. This sounds almost like creating stories. So there's always some element of the songwriter or the writer in a story, but it's also a lot of imagination. So how does doing this album compare to, say, writing a book?
Well, to be honest, this record is a little more honest than story. It's like, unfortunately, there's kind of like a sad thread to it that kind of reflected some stuff I went through. So I do have the luxury as a storyteller to kind of hide behind that a little bit, but some of these songs are pretty real. But I guess similar to a novelist, I could kind of piece together the sequence of songs that would tell a bigger story, and that's what I did. So I guess the writing of everything is kind of similar. Like when I'm writing fiction or something, it's sort of a musical feeling that I get sometimes when I really find the right thing. And after having done this for so long, there's just this intuitive, flowy thing that happens when I'm really just at peace in my writing process, whatever kind of writing it is. So in that sense, it's all kind of the same. But I'm not sure I even answered your question.
Kim Ritchie, you mentioned Kim Ritchie, who is...
Love her.
And also Maya Sharp are two women that you have worked with on this album and other albums. You've written with them. And, it's horrible that they're overlooked because they're both such amazing songwriters. But what do they bring to it that changes things up for you?
Well, they just bring friendship, kind of at this point. There's kind of this, there's just a deep bond that I feel with both of them in particular. Of kind of the journeyman kind of vibe for all three of us in a way that we've just been kind of doing our thing for a long, long time, and are very supportive and encouraging and just genuine fans of each other. So they just bring kind of love to the whole thing. It's more the musicians on the record they kind of force the sound in kind of surprising ways more than Maya and Kim. Maya and Kim are kind of sort of not afterthoughts, but kind of after the real record is made, I reach out to them and say, hey, can you guys do harmonies? And we send them the tracks and everything. So it's more like the people in the studio, especially on this record. They kind of, that first song, that song I just sang, Telling Stories, it became just what I wanted it to be, which was I wanted it to feel like sort of like an old Glenn Campbell song or something. And it does, but it's because these musicians brought this kind of deep soul surprise to me, so, and that was really what shaped the sound of this record.
So was it intuitive for them, or did you direct?
Well, it was intuitive more. I remember I drove to Brooklyn with Dave Throckmorton, who plays drums, and we got to the studio late in the day on a Wednesday, and I think that night we started with a song called Highway 1, which I'd actually recorded live with the Gathering Field. And so I had this live Gathering Field version that I kind of thought we would kind of get a jump start by just kind of copying that arrangement. But from that very first night, Chris Parker, who played guitar, said, hey, you know, I'm hearing this a little bit different. And then he played this whole different feel of the song. And then that kind of led us down a different path than I would have led us myself, which I welcome. You know, after having made so many records, it's like I'm kind of over myself, you know, over what I do. So I want to hear what they do. But the cool part was, like, the melody, there's like a purity and a melody to like the songs as I wrote them. And Chris, they're all so sensitive and so supportive of what I do that they just brought their immense talent to what I naturally do, but kind of made me sound just a little cooler than I am.
If you just tuned in, it's Bill Deasy here on 91.3 WYEP, who will be playing the WYEP Summer Music Festival, Shanley Plaza, June 25th. You know, you mentioned your job, which is, you know, booking bands for the county. And you and I are both lucky. We're similar in the sense that even in our advanced years, we have a reason to stay in touch with emerging music, emerging artists. You know, we're always discovering things. So that has to keep things fresh for you.
Yeah, that does keep things fresh. And even more than that, like just staying connected to musicians. And like I remember last summer we had the Wood Brothers, and I had to drive Oliver Wood from like Hartwood to a hotel or something. And I'd never met him or anything, and he was such a sweet guy, and we just had this weirdly kind of like intense conversation about creativity and songwriting and all this stuff. And like things like that are what kind of help to keep me alive, you know, as a creative person myself. But also, you probably more than me, but like it does help me. My job helps me to kind of keep aware of more music, and locally too, to just kind of keep aware of all the great music here.
Well, you are going to be playing our festival, and you are not going to do it alone. You have a band.
I do have a band. It's the band from the studio. The basic. We won't have a keyboard player, but we do have Chris Parker on electric guitar, Jeremy McDonald, who kind of recorded and mixed and mastered the record on bass, and they're just amazing. And Dave Throckmorton, legendary Pittsburgh drummer, on drums. So it'll be the four of us, which will be, and that's kind of how it all started. We played a show almost to the day, last summer, out of nowhere, just because they happened to be in town and I needed players for this gig that I had, and they could do it. And just one of those random things, because I hadn't played with them in years and years and years in that exact configuration. And it felt so good that led to conversations that were like, we should record some songs. And then I thought, yeah, we should. And so here we are.
Serendipitous.
Serendipitous.
Well, Bill Deasy playing Shanley Plaza, June 25th, WYEP Summer Music Festival. Could you do another tune for us here?
Of course I could. Okay, this is the single. I took a thermos for the road. I took a minute to remember. Took an eternity to go. But still the following September, when I saw a woman with her eyes, thanking me for flying friendly skies, started thinking about the way she smiled. We wandered merrily down through our little patchwork Eden. When she was there for me, I was almost halfway to believing. Yeah. Now everybody got a tale. Yeah, everybody got a story. Some kind of monumental fail, some kind of momentary glory. This one's a little bit of both. She was the giver and the thief of my hope, but still I think about the way she smiles with her eye. Dared to dream that my long shot odds were back to even. She said she cared for me, and I was almost halfway to believe it. Afternoon, home too soon, curbside and unfamiliar car in my room. She broke my heart. Her and an old friend. I was unprepared to see she might have a talent for deceiving. She said she'd marry me, and I was almost halfway to believe it. Yeah, I was halfway to believe it. But then I opened up that door.
Bill Deasy has a new album out called If the Creek Don't Rise, and you can catch him and his full band at the WYEP Summer Music
Can't wait.
Festival, June
Yeah.
25th.
It's going to be so much fun. Thanks so much for inviting us.
It's great to see you again, Bill.
Good to see you too.